Have you ever wondered why you drink plenty of water yet still feel tired, bloated, or unwell? Could it be that you're not drinking water the right way? In this video, I'm going to share 5 simple rules about drinking water the right way, something I've come to understand deeply over the years. But first, let's take a moment to understand why drinking water matters so much. And at the very end, I'll talk about how much water we really need each day. So stay with me, because what you'll hear might just inspire a longer, healthier life. Why is water so essential? Well, every day, just by being alive, we quietly lose about 2.5 quarts of water. 1.5 quart slips away through our kidneys, a bit more through the colon, and even our lungs let go of some as we breathe. That water loss adds up. And here's the truth. Our bodies don't have a secret backup supply. There's no reserve tank. The only way we replace what we've lost is by drinking water, plain and simple. While some moisture comes from food, we still need a good, steady intake of pure water, about 2 quarts a day at the very least. Now, let me tell you a story that touched my heart and changed how I look at hydration. Years ago, I came across the work of an Iranian doctor, Dr. Pat Mangelij. He had a remarkable insight into water and health. During his time imprisoned in Evin, when medicine was scarce, he discovered that something as basic as water could ease the pain of peptic ulcers. With no pills to give, he offered water, and the results were powerful. That experience led him to spend years studying how water affects the body, and he wrote several books to share his discoveries. One of his most well-known titles is Your Body's Many Cries for Water. Another one carries a phrase I'll never forget. You're not sick, you're thirsty. In his writings, he warns us not to silence the body's thirst with medication. What really stuck with me is his explanation of how the body reacts to dehydration. When we run low on water, the body does its best to cope, releasing a substance called histamine. It's like a rescue mission, trying to keep our blood flowing properly in the heart and major vessels. But in doing that, the body starts pulling water from less critical areas. It takes some from our joints, and that can lead to stiffness and pain. It robs the stomach lining of its protective moisture, a lining that's almost entirely made of water, leaving it vulnerable and raw, which can bring on ulcers. And then there's the brain. From the neck down, our bodies are about 75% water, but from the neck up, it's closer to 85%. So when the brain starts drying out, the cells shrink, and we feel it. That familiar ache in your head? It could just be thirst. Even sadness or cloudy thoughts might be your brain asking gently, could I have a sip of water, please? So here's rule number 1. Drink at least 8 glasses of water every day. But don't just chug it all at once. Your body doesn't work that way. Instead, think of it like watering a delicate plant. Sip by sip, slowly and consistently throughout the day. Make it easy for yourself. Keep a bottle in the car, a glass by your bed, a jug in the kitchen, one on your desk. Wherever you are, let water be close by. Sip, sip, sip your way through the hours. Start early. The earlier you begin, the more your body will thank you. Send water into your system like a gentle shower, a soft, steady stream, not in big floods, but in nourishing little waves all day long. Start early, keep going, and notice how your body feels when it's truly hydrated. The next 2 rules I want to share have everything to do with protecting the delicate lining of your stomach. But before we get to those, Let me walk you through something that truly opened my eyes. Our stomachs are lined with a thick protective cushion, a soft barrier filled with something called sodium bicarbonate. Now, that little compound acts like a quiet guardian. Its job is to neutralize any stomach acid that tries to push through and cause trouble, keeping the powerful acid from damaging the stomach wall. But here's where it gets interesting. When the body starts running low on water, one of the first places it borrows from is that stomach lining. And as that moisture fades, that once thick cushion thins out. Without enough water, there's not much sodium bicarbonate left, and that acid, it's free to cause harm. Over time, the stomach wall becomes vulnerable. Damage sets in, and our body, remarkably smart and resourceful, calls in a cleanup crew. That's when a certain kind of bacteria, normally just minding its own business, steps in to help. Its name is Helicobacter pylori, and though it's often blamed for ulcers, it may simply be showing up to handle the mess left behind by dehydration. So what's really behind so many of these ulcers? According to Dr. Bat Mangaliji, the root cause is usually just not drinking enough water. He even shared that he had seen thousands of cases of ulcers resolved with nothing but proper hydration. Which brings us to rule number 2. Drink 1 glass of water about half an hour before you sit down to eat. That gentle habit gives your body time to rebuild that stomach lining, to thicken it again, and make it strong, ready to handle the digestive process with ease. Let me expand a little more on why drinking a glass of water about 30 minutes before a meal can be such a quiet yet powerful act of care for your digestive system. When you drink water ahead of a meal, your body isn't just absorbing fluid, it's receiving a gentle signal that preparation is underway. One of the most important things that happens in this short window is the renewal of your stomach's protective lining. This lining, rich in mucus, acts like a soft shield, guarding the stomach wall from the strong digestive acid, hydrochloric acid, that's released when food arrives. Now, if that lining becomes too thin, which often happens when the body is mildly dehydrated, the acid can begin to irritate and even erode the stomach wall. Over time, this can lead to discomfort, inflammation, and even ulcers. But when you hydrate a little before eating, your body has the chance to replenish that lining, making it thicker, more resilient, and ready to face the digestive process without harm. Water at this time also gently awakens your digestive system. It encourages the release of digestive enzymes and helps smooth the path for food to move comfortably through your gut. Most importantly, drinking before a meal rather than during it means your stomach acid stays concentrated and strong, maintaining its natural ability to break down food efficiently and keep unwanted bacteria at bay. So you see, this simple habit isn't just about quenching thirst. It's a wise, strategic act of self-care. A glass of water before your meal quietly prepares your inner world, laying down a strong foundation for digestion, comfort, and long-term health. Now, let's talk about rule number 3. And for this one, I want to share a story about someone I worked with. A kind, well-meaning man who was doing his best. He told me proudly that he drank 2 liters of water every day. But here's the thing, he was drinking a full liter with each meal. Every time he sat down to eat, he'd drink a big glass of water, thinking it was helping. What he didn't realize was that water during meals was watering down his stomach acid, and that acid when it's at full strength, is there for a reason. It doesn't just help digest food, it also keeps harmful microbes like Helicobacter pylori in check. But because he was drinking nothing between meals, he was dehydrated when he sat down to eat. That meant his stomach lining was thin and the acid was already weak. His body was left unprotected, and each time he'd reach for that big glass of water during the meal, it only made things worse. Then he learned a new way. He began drinking his water slowly, gently between meals, sipping through the day instead of gulping at the table. That simple change gave his stomach the moisture it needed to build a strong protective lining again. When he began eating, his body was ready. His stomach released just the right amount of acid, strong and steady, and slowly he began to heal. Now, if you do feel thirsty after a meal, it's perfectly fine to take a few small sips. A mouthful or two of water won't wash away the acid your stomach needs. Just remember, timing matters, and a little shift in habit can go a long way in bringing your body back into balance. Now, let's talk about something that often sneaks into our daily routines without much thought: caffeinated drinks. I found that many folks, myself included once upon a time, didn't realize how some of our favorite beverages can actually work against us when it comes to staying properly hydrated. But before we get into which drinks to be cautious about, let's take a little walk through the body and see just how many parts rely on water to do their job well. As we travel down through the digestive system, we come across the pancreas. This little organ is quite the multitasker. It not only sends out digestive helpers to the gut, but also releases important hormones into the bloodstream. The two main ones are insulin and glucagon, and both of them need a generous supply of water to be produced the way they should. So you can imagine, if we're not giving our body enough water, the pancreas struggles to do its job, and over time, that strain can play a role in blood sugar problems. Further along that path, we reach the colon. One of its main responsibilities is to draw water out of what's left of our food so it can shape it into solid waste. But here's the catch. If we're running low on fluids, the colons will take even more water than it should, leaving our waste too dry and too hard. That's when we run into constipation, what I call the rabbit pellet and cement problem. And more often than not, dehydration is behind it. Now, let's circle back to those drinks. I know how comforting a warm cup of coffee or tea can be, or how refreshing a cold soda might feel on a hot afternoon. But here's the truth. Caffeine and sugar act like little thieves. Instead of helping hydrate the body, they pull moisture away. So when we're already dehydrated and we reach for coffee, tea, cola, or sodas like Dr. Pepper, we're only digging ourselves deeper into that dry well. They may taste satisfying in the moment, but they don't give our cells the water they so desperately need. This brings me to the final rule about drinking water, and it's one I love for its simplicity and wisdom. Just before each glass of water, take a tiny bit of Celtic salt. Not a spoonful, just a pinch. Why? Because that beautiful salt, harvested gently by hand using old Celtic methods, is rich in minerals, 82 of them to be exact. These minerals, especially the magnesium, help draw water into your cells where it's most needed. You see, every cell in your body is wrapped in a delicate double-layered membrane, and water can't just stroll in on its own. It needs a little help. That's where the minerals come in. Inside your cells, potassium levels are high. Outside, it's sodium that dominates. And between the two, there's a little pump, like a tiny doorman, that keeps the balance just right. Those sodium-potassium pumps rely on the presence of minerals to do their work. And when you nourish your body with Celtic salt, you're giving those pumps the support they need to welcome water into every corner of your body. Magnesium, in particular, is a key player. It craves water, clings to it, and helps carry it where it needs to go. That's why it shows up in so many hydration mixes. It's that important. And finally, you might be wondering how much water is right for you. There's a simple rule I like to follow. For every 100 pounds of body weight, aim for 8 glasses of water a day. So if you weigh around 50 pounds, that's 4 glasses. It's not a strict science, but it's a gentle guideline to help your body stay refreshed, supported, and at ease. As both a physician and a nutritionist, I can tell you with confidence that drinking water is far more than simply quenching thirst. It is, in truth, a deeply vital act, one that sustains life at every level. Water reaches into every system within us, from the digestive tract and the circulatory system to our mental clarity and emotional balance. Hydration quietly supports it all. One important truth I often emphasize, and yet many people overlook, is this: thirst is not always a reliable signal. Especially as we grow older, the body's natural thirst response begins to dull. So by the time you actually feel thirsty, your body may already be running on empty. That's why I gently encourage my patients to drink water regularly, even before thirst sets in. It's a simple, proactive way to protect the body and keep everything running smoothly, especially in our later years. There's also something to be said about the temperature of the water we drink. I often recommend room temperature or warm water, particularly for those with a sensitive digestion, older adults, or anyone whose immune system needs extra care. Cold water, especially icy drinks, can be jarring to the stomach and may slow down digestion. Warm water, on the other hand, is gentler, more welcoming to the body, and easier to absorb. Let's also consider the quality of the water we drink. While purified water is a good foundation, water that's been filtered too aggressively, like through certain reverse osmosis systems, or overly processed bottled water, can be stripped of the natural minerals our body needs. That's where a small pinch of Celtic sea salt, rich in over 80 trace minerals, can make a meaningful difference. Just a touch before your glass of water can help the body absorb and retain that water more effectively. Likewise, nature provides us with wonderfully balanced options like fresh coconut water, which is full of naturally occurring electrolytes. These aren't just beverages, they're gifts to the body. And here's something that might surprise you. Your emotional state can influence how your body absorbs water. If you're calm and relaxed, your body tends to process and utilize fluids more efficiently. On the other hand, drinking water quickly while stressed or in a rush may interfere with how well that water is taken in and distributed. So, while the act of drinking water is physical, the circumstances around it still matter more than we often realize. So my advice is not just drink enough water. It's something more intentional. Drink water regularly, at the right times, in the right way, and with attention to your body's needs. When we do this, drinking water becomes more than a habit. It becomes a steady foundation for health. It becomes a simple yet powerful way to support every cell, every organ, every system that relies on water to function well. If you found something valuable in today's message, I encourage you, start today. Let your next glass of water be the first of many gentle acts of care for your body. And if this touches you, please don't keep it to yourself. Tap the like button, share this video with someone you care about, and let us know in the comments what health topic you'd like us to explore in future videos. Your voice matters, and we're here to walk this journey with you.